I just guesstimated my way through the sea turtle using one small, very, very thin skein of yarn. My goal was to use all of it for the turtle. I got really close. I ended up not having enough in the middle. So while making the second one, I will talk it out of what I did. But I just kind of went with the flow with this one. I think it came out pretty cute, even a little tiny tail. So yeah, so see how I come with me while I work out how I make things without patterns. So in doing my second one, trying to adjust for this not having enough, what I'm going to do is, this one has 9 rows of like even increasing. So with this one, I'm going to do 8. And I think by taking off that one, it will also take off another one that's on the inside, which might make it for a perfectly purple. So we'll see. So, but like I said, it's too thin. So I don't know if you've ever been taught this, but to make it thicker, you just lay it on each other. Try to get it in frame. There we go. And then rotate. And now we have 3 strands all together. So I'm going to start magic circle, magic ring with 6. 1, 2. And you see that it's starting to get shorter here. So I just stick it through and pull. And then it's like a forever 3 strand. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I will not bore you with increasing this the whole time, but the next round it's gonna all be increases in each, so then there'll be 12. Then the next one I'll just keep going and going until I get to increase in 8 single stitch round. All right, I'm about halfway here. We've got increase, 4 single crochets repeated around. Next I'm going to do increase 5 single crochets all the way up to, what did I say, 8. And then we'll check back. I realized I forgot to tell you I'm using a 4.5 millimeter, you can't see it, but that's all right, a 4.5 millimeter hook. Why? Just because it feels okay. I just kind of go with whatever hook feels right. It's not leaving very big gaps in the yarn. Usually I use a 3.5, but I was finding that I couldn't get the hook in and out easily without making everything like super bumpy. And for stitch markers, I just like to use a leftover piece of yarn because it's easy to just lay it across the stitches to see where you are. Right about 10 minutes later, I have done all my increase rounds up to 8. On this one, I ended up doing 6 single crochet rows. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that for here because I think that it will still work just fine. So see 6 rows from now. 6 rows of single crochet are all done. With not having that one extra increase row, it is looking a lot smaller than my other one. And I have about a good hole going here, that much left, so I'm really hoping that it is the perfect amount to close here and there's not too much left over, because if there is, then I'm going to be wishing that I had one more increase around so that it would be big, but maybe when I stuff it, it'll look better. Okay, so for closing here, bringing it down, in order to get this more like flat, I know it looks really rounded, but more of like a flat bottom, I use, I think we call it the front loop. I don't know, you can't see, but it's the one in here. I'm going to put it on this side. Do you see that? See that? Maybe it's blurry. Anyways, put it in the front loop. We're gonna I'm gonna decrease and then do 6 single crochets no, eight. We're doing 8 because the decreasing needs to match your increasing on the top. So I'm going to do 8 of these decreasing rows, kind of the same way, just the opposite when doing it on the bottom. And as you can see, it already helps it lay kind of flat like that. I don't know. Can you see? It's flatter. So it won't be rounded for the tummy. Well, this is where I am right now. We had to take some out. But you know what? This is part of the process of no pattern, so that's okay. I think I might have found where I messed up, so I'm just going to go ahead and fix all that. You can pretend you didn't see this. Or just know that I am also like you. Not everything's going to be perfect, and the great thing is you could just take it out and try again. So I'm going to get back up to where I'm supposed to be closing it and close it, and then we'll talk again. All right? Okay. And we're back to where it should be. So a bit ago I had mentioned that it seemed like I had more yarn than I should. So from the accident that I just showed you, this is a good reminder that to trust yourself, okay? Trust yourself. If it doesn't seem right, this isn't just for crochet. It could be for anything, okay? Life lessons. Just trust your gut. What I should have done is gone back and count, because what the mishap ended up being is basically I missed one whole row of increases. That's what happened. I counted it weird, and then when I got to the inside, it didn't match up, and that's what ended up happening. So don't worry, it'll be okay, right? And remember how I was saying it looked too small? Now it looks a lot bigger. It looks a lot bigger now. So that's good. Okay. So as you can see, I'm starting to close it, which is a decrease, and then 8 single crochets, and the next one will be decrease 7, repeat it, decrease 6, repeat it until we have a good size opening to put the polyfill in. Coming down to the moment of truth. So I have about 3 or 4 more decreases rows to go, and I only have this much. Please let it be enough. It is so close. I am not sure this is going to be enough. I've got 2 more rows to close, but we have to wait for that because it's time to put the polyfill stuffing in. So when doing bigger items or small items, I suggest using more than you think you'll need, because if you start taking off little bits and putting it in, it gets like clumpy, kind of clumpy. So if you can, I say use big and just kind of pull off like that a little bit at a time and get it in there. And then I'm gonna fill it up here. And then at the end, I kind of like scoop my hand around on the sides like this, but like, you know, on the inside. And it makes it a little bit more smooth. And I know some people like really, really squishy, soft squish stuffies and whatnot. I like mine a little firmer because, as you know, I do put mine for markets for people to buy. And I feel like it's just going to last a little longer with children being rough on them, or you know, mini trips through the washing machine. So that's why I like to do mine kind of firm stuffed. Okay, so this is fairly squishy. I'm going to actually do more, but too, because it looks very rounded, even when I said I'm using a stitch to make it flat. So what I do is I just kind of, you know, like push it inward. And then with more stuffing, I'm going to take it and I'm going to push it against the sides where this crease is, like this. So that we can build up kind of like a little like wall around the inside on the outside, the inside on the edge, like this. And then you can shape it, because it's just stuffing. You can shape it. So then it's more then it will slowly become more flat. You see, like that? Here, I'll do one more little example there, and then I will finish it so you're not just staring at me stuffing this. Okay, all stuffed. It's pretty, it's kind of squishy there. Now to see if this is enough. Please be enough. So I know that is about an 12 stitches here. So let's see, one. Doing it this way is a little hard. 2. This is where the suspense comes in. 3. Will she make it? 4. 5. I'm even trying to make my tension a little bit harder. I mean tighter so that 6, so that I'm not using as much yarn. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. That one came out. 11. 12. Maybe 12. There we go. I have 12, but with this much left over, I usually do a whole little thing of decrease, but I'm wondering, let's try it together here. What if I just put this through and tighten it? Let's see if it works. This is called problem solving, because I don't want to add another color. I'm just gonna like weave it in and out around this circle here, and let's see if it will close it with this very small amount. It's a very small amount. Oh my goodness, I think it will work. I think it's gonna work. It's closed. Okay, I have this much now to fasten it off. And to fasten it off, I'm just going to put it in and out in a couple places here and just let the yarn do its thing. And it will just get lost in the fibers. There we go. Ta-da! There's the shell. Okay, so I was thinking this one I used pink, and you can kind of tell this purple is a little bit darker, so I was going to use this teal color for the body and the arms and legs. I think it would look really good together, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to copy, I think this head size is still good, because they are fairly the same size, a little bit, right? Just a smidge smaller, but I think that head size will work just fine. So what I did is, it looks like I increased out to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I increased out 5 rows. So I started with a magic ring with 6, then I increased it for 12. The whole round, then it was an increase single all the way around, all the way up to increase 5 single. 5 increasing rounds all done. Next, it looks like I did 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochet rows, or 4 rows of single crochet. So I'm gonna get to that. And you might notice that my hook is different. That is because this yarn is a 4-weight. It's just regular acrylic yarn that I normally use. And I really like using a 3.5 millimeter hook for that. To me, I don't have a reason, it just works. So that's what I'm using here now. 4 single crochet rows done. Next up will be, I've got 1, 2, 3 decreasing rows. So it will be decrease 5 single crochets repeated around. Then it will be a decrease 4 single crochets repeated around, and then 3 a decrease, and then 3 single crochets and repeated around. And then it looks like I have 2 rows, yep, 2 rows of single crochets after that. 3 decreasing rows done. Now time for the last 2 rows, which are just single crochet. Then I'm going to fasten it off and leave a nice long tail for hand sewing it on. 2 little rows done. Before I stuff it, just a quick little tip. If you see, it kind of goes in, let me see here, in and then up kind of sharply. So what you can do is, if you can just pull it apart a little bit with your fingers like that, can just stretch it, and it kind of evens that out, because you know this is just yarn. It's has some give to it, so we can kind of shape it so it's not so, it's a little bit better right there, not so okay. And then I'm going to use the same exact technique of stuffing for this, getting it all in there, making it shaped and nice and firm. Right, one head stuffed. Got my tapestry needle here. I'm gonna go ahead and string it through. Gonna mess it up first, but that's okay. When that happens, we're just gonna fold it over. Don't waste the yarn, just fold it over, and we're gonna squeeze that in there. Ta-da! Still usable. Okay. So you're probably thinking, how do I know where to put it on? So there's this ugly seam here, and this is where I like to put it. We're gonna just cover it up. So one side is a little taller than the other. This is where I'm gonna start. I'm gonna put my needle in between. I'm just gonna try to gauge in the middle. We're putting it in between the stitches like so. And then I pull it. And we're going to go up from there. See, like that? This is not the best viewpoint for this, of course. But I put it through. I don't know if you can see, kind of like that. And we're just gonna go all the way around. And then when done, fasten it off and get started on some flipper arms. Now time for some appendages. So what I did for all of these, it's just a magic ring increasing all the way up to increase 8 single crochets repeated. That's it. Then I did slip stitches all around the outside and stuffed it, and then just sewed them on. So we're going to just make 4 of those. So again, it is a magic ring with 6, starting with 6 in the middle, and then it's going to be increase everything out till you're left with increase 8 repeated. Right, have just finished all those increasing rows. So where you've ended, this is where we're going to fold it. It is not even, you can see that, but don't worry, once we get going it will be. Then I'm going to slip stitch around. If you don't like doing that, if you just cut off a really long tail, you could just sew it up by hand. But I like it a nice crisp edge, so then, you know, stick it to the other side. All the way. Oh. A little tricky there. So there's one. I'm going to go all the way, probably about here, and then stuff it. All right, got my little opening. The important thing with stuffing these is you don't want them too full, because then they're going to just be stiff, you know. So a good idea is to kind of separate the yarn. I mean, you could go nerdy with it and get a food scale and weigh it so you have the same amount. But I mean, eyeballing it is also good. So just kind of look at it. Those are kind of the same. So there's two like that. And then maybe there's two like that. So I'm going to take this one. Hopefully it's just not too much. But we'll find out. That's why you use what you like. If you want them really full, you know, stuff it in there. Getting it into this corner is a little tricky. I have this fancy wooden stick that I've had forever. Sometimes when you buy polyfill, you get a fancy stick in it. So that's just what I use to get it down there. And yeah, actually this is too much. So we're just gonna use about that much. Kind of wiggle it out to the edges. So it's got some in it. Wait, just kidding, we need a little bit more. See, maybe I did do it right. See, don't second guess yourself. This is the lesson of the day. Okay, so now we kind of have our little pierogi here. And then I'm just gonna stitch it closed and leave a long tail. And then repeat the process 3 more times. Okay, so he's got a nice little string to it. We're going to just flatten out and squish this little pierogi here. Make sure there's stuffing in the corners and help it feel a little fuller. So there's 1, 2 legs, 3 appendages, 4. All done. Now time to sew them on. So for sewing them on, I'm going to do it a lot like the head. I'm going to be sewing like just a few of these stitches onto the body. So then it creates that little shape. Okay. And on the other one, I just kind of space them out. There's these holes that I'm going to be counting, like here. So we've got 1, 2, 3. I think I did 4 or 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did 6. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to count 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Enter my hook like that. Pull it through. And then just go ahead and attach them. I'm going to do this like 4 times. Then I'm going to go over it one more time. And then I'm going to go over the ends another time. Just so they're not going to be like pulled off. Alright, we've got 1 on. Next one's going to be 7 down. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just like the last one. Doing it right above the line there. And I'm going to attach it the same exact way. Then I'll be doing the same exact thing mirrored on the other side. 2, 3 on, 1 more to go. All arms and legs are on. Now just need to do a little tiny tail. So for the tail, I'm just going to count the stitches in. I'm just going to find where the middle is. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm left with like 4 stitches at the end. And that is exactly perfect. I'm going to enter my hook there. Because I'm going to sew a no-sew tail, because the less we have to hand sew on, the better, right? So I'm gonna do, let me try to remember what I did before. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that what I did? I think it was 5. Yes, we're gonna do 5. Then it is a single at the end, a half double in the next one. Then I did a double. And then a triple in the last loop. Like so. I'm going to cut off a good amount to finish sewing it on. And because I used a triple, it's going to lay across and cover those 4 stitches. Remember I had 1, 2, 3, 4. So you'll see if I lay it across, it's going to cover those 4 stitches right there. And our little tail is done. Just need one more important thing, 2 more important things. For the eyes, I like mine to be kind of level with the arm. So I just kind of eyeball it. That's all I do. And in here you can tell where the rows of single are. I'm going to put it somewhere in there so it's kind of even. So I'm just going to pick a spot that is kind of even with the arms. And I'm going to do it through 2. Do it across 2 rows, just like that. I'm going to do it 4 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And as I poke it through, I'm going to try to poke it through so it's kind of even on the other side. One easy way of doing that is if you take the 2 rows that I used and just kind of follow it with your finger over and around, so then you know kind of where, so you know that the eyes are going to be even on the other side. So if I do that, it's going to be somewhere right about here. And then before you poke it like all the way through, you can always kind of check and see if it looks even. Does it look even enough? I think it does. Looks even to me. And then again, same thing, 4, going through 2, 3, and 4. And then we're just gonna go through somewhere random. A little snip snip. And there you have it. A turtle with no pattern. If you try it out, please let me know. If there's anything else you want to learn how to make off the top of your head, my head, let me know and we can make it together. Bye-bye.